Well, hello and welcome to Cereal at Midnight. My name is Heath. Hello, come in. This is Cereal at Midnight. My name is Heath. I will be your server this evening. Could I interest you in today's specials? Guys, what's going on? How are you? Our conversation about my favorite releases of 2021 continues. This is our second spotlight on my favorites of 2021. If you saw part one, here's a question for you. So did I just go change my shirt and change my hat and fire the camera back up? Or is it a whole different day? YouTube tricks, YouTube questions. All right, we got a lot of ground to cover, so let's just jump right into it. I'm going kind of mainstream here at the start of this one, so let's talk about... I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Smallville. I love Smallville. This is, of course, the fact that Warner Brothers released a 10-season show in one box set is great, and it means great things for the future of physical media. It's exciting. It's exciting times when we have... And this was fairly reasonable too. I remember paying like $50 a season. I think $40 a season for Smallville on DVD. Here we get a whole, it's like $114 as I'm recording this video for 10 seasons. Unbelievable. I love this show. There was a disc snafu with this that some people were getting like a duplicate. I want to say it was disc 24, maybe it was disc 25. And they were missing another disc. So I got one of the good ones right out of the gates. And I saw some people selling theirs on eBay in plans of rebuying it after it got... Like if they had a correct set, they're like, I'm going to sell it for a sweet profit right now. And I'll rebuy it later. Meanwhile, I am just watching Smallville. So I was like, no, I'm not selling this show. I'm keeping it and I'm watching it. Way more important for me to watch it and enjoy it. So that's what I did. Let's talk about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the 4K edition from Warner Brothers. I love this movie. The older I get, the more I respond to it. The more, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, it's these kids in the Chocolate Factory and they get to lick the wallpaper and we're having such a good time. And the songs and the Oompa Loompas and all that stuff. But the older I get, Gene Wilder as the sort of angry, worn out, a little bit bitter man, who is looking for one good person in the world. I'm like, that is 2021. It resonates with me the older I get. I'm like, Gene Wilder is amazing in this movie. So Tim Burton, Schmim Burton, there's something special about this. And I, even the book, I love the book, but there's something really magical about this and 50th anniversary. I don't love this disc, to be honest with you guys. It's got a few problems for me. It's a little too smooth. Warner Archive does a great job with their Blu-rays, but Warner Brothers proper, always too smooth with the 4Ks. And of course that trains people that 4Ks are supposed to be smooth. They pull out, they DNR some of that grain. I don't really like that. But I am fine with it if I get it's still better. It's better than Blu-ray. It's still a huge step up, which is why, similar situation here. Indiana Jones, the 4 movies. I don't love all of these movies either. Raiders of the Lost Ark is perfection. Gum would be perfection. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, I like more and more the older I get, and I like it because it's different, right? It's the reason we like Halloween 3. By the way, people used to not like Halloween 3. Now it's champion because it's different. Be different. Go, Fleetwood and Mac once said, you can go your own way. I like things that deviate from a formula. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, great place to end the franchise. What a perfect trilogy, a perfect tied up bow. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Well, hey, so this came out on 4K, and I was really excited about it. I staunchly defended Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but as time has gone on, I'm like, it sticks out like a sore thumb, and now we're gonna get an 80-year-old Indiana Jones. I'm like, he's a hero from the 40s. He's a pulp hero. He's Alan Ladd. He's Gunga Din. It's all those things. Anyway, let's talk about Django. As we continue a little bit of 4K coverage here. This Django release from Arrow is absolutely stunning. I'm a huge fan of Westerns. I'm a huge fan of spaghetti Westerns. This package did not disappoint. I did a lengthy review for this here on the channel, but I would be remiss to not include it in my coverage of this year. And you know what? The other, so that's kind of like the indie Italian grindy spaghetti Western. We got to talk about the slick, polished hotness. The studio, like this is the Majestic MGM 1967 masterpiece from Sergio Leone. We got both of them this year. We got Django and we got The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Again, people like it's not perfect, but it's so much better than the DVDs and even the Blu-ray. Like I really feel this is. I'm going to be quick about this little side conversation. We are missing the forest for the trees. I see so many channels and conversations and reviews and bloggers focusing on gamma levels. They're popping these things into computers and they're looking at numbers and they're looking at gamma levels. I'm not a gamma level fan. I'm a movie fan. We're neglecting the conversation about why these movies are still relevant a half a century or more after they first debuted. Too much conversation about the technical presentation and not enough conversation about why we connect with these movies in the first place. And it's a very small representation of fandom that's doing this, and it makes me kind of sad because I'm like, you're not gonna buy the good, the bad. Like, there's not another edition of this coming out. This is what's at. Like, you're not gonna buy the good and the bad and the ugly because you think that the gamma level, you don't love the color timing on this, so you're gonna skip it. You're gonna watch your DVD. Okay, I don't understand that. I legitimately don't understand that. So, it's just a little side. It's the end of the year. I guess I'm feeling a little bit reflective. And I just don't understand why we put technical presentation over film quality. And we're not having those conversations. So many people are not having those conversations. Let's talk about Vengeance Trails, also from Arrow. I'm realizing this is a very Western-focused video. There's another one down there too. This was an amazing box set of spaghetti westerns from Arrow Video. It's interesting to me. 2021 was the year. I said this, I think, in my last video. Which was it today or was it earlier? Was it another day? That 2021 has been the year of the deep cut and the surprise. Like, I never would have expected these movies getting Blu-ray representations, nice restorations, tons of special features, commentaries, packing materials, booklets, posters. Like, never would have thought that was coming. But what are the gamma levels like? How does it look? What's the bit rate? That comes. I'm being a little bit salty. I grew up watching some of these movies taped off of television, or maybe you'd be lucky to find something on Channel 12 at 3:00 on a Sunday afternoon, and you'd hope for the best picture, and it was always like smushed because they were the wide, the big widescreen presentations. They'd be smushed for TV, probably a third generation dupe. Forest for the trees. We are missing so much by focusing on the wrong thing. Not that we should just take whatever is given to us, because I had some real disappointments this year. But what really matters? What's really important? Maybe that's a good place to lead into this, the Randolph Scott collection. So I have better presentations of the Bud Bedecker films that are here in the Indicator box set. But that still leaves a ton, like a half dozen other Randolph Scott Westerns making a Blu-ray debut with this set. Plus a Ballyhoo documentary about Randolph Scott. For Western fans, I mean, Mill Creek did this last year with the Rita Hayworth sets. I would love to see this trend continue where they just go, hey guys, here's 12 catalog titles with, like, they're not new transfers. These are whatever in the studio vaults. These are from Sony, I think. It's Columbia, so Sony. These are in the Sony vaults. They're not new transfers, but we're giving them to you at a good price. You get 12 movies, like $45. What do you say? Like, I love that. Please do that, because we get massive chunks of actors' filmographies in better than DVD presentations with new special features. What a wonderful thing that is, like, I just get really excited about that. Again, if you've been old enough to not have everything handed to you on a silver platter, like, I want so-and-so, and then someone's like, well, here you go. If you've ever had to wait for these things, we are so blessed right now. We are so blessed. And it's not going to last forever. I honestly thought that 2020, we're going to talk about this in the future. I thought 2020 was the pinnacle. And in some ways it was. But we continue to get served with so many different delights, and what a great time to be a movie fan. From Kino Lorber, I wanted to talk about career opportunities. It's not like a super special edition or anything like this, but I love career opportunities, and the fact that I got this in HD this year, I love it. I've watched it several times since it was released. It's one of my favorite movies, probably a top 5 movie. I don't really, as I throw it across the floor, I can't tell you favorites. People ask, well, what's your favorite so-and-so? I could maybe tell you, I don't do favorites. I can do conversations about things. Heath, what are some of your favorite westerns? Then I'm going to talk to you for an hour about the westerns that I love, and I'm probably going to talk about like 100 of them while I'm going. So I can't narrow it down, but I love career opportunities. John Hughes doing that thing that John Hughes does, the fantasy of being locked in a Target as a teenager with, with Jennifer Connelly is. It's a lot of red-blooded American male fantasies right there. And it's just like, first of all, unsupervised in a department store overnight. That's fun. Then you're there with the hottest girl in school, and she's misunderstood, and she's willing to talk to you. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. There's no better way to check it out than the presentation on the new Kino Lorber Blu-ray. And I want to wrap up this coverage. Look at my time there. I want to wrap up this coverage with some film detective love. Now, they put out more than these 3 releases, but these are my 3 favorite film detective releases of the year. And they're all B movies, genre movies. We also have trying to get that career opportunities disc off the floor. We also have the Sherlock Holmes box set that they just put out, which I'm still going through. I'm halfway through it. And there was also like the Fabulous Dorseys. But you want to get to my heart, you give me movies like The Amazing Mr. X. You give me Frankenstein's Daughter. You give me Poverty Row movies. You give me B-movie horror. You give me 50s stuff. That's what I love. And then the fact that we got Hercules and the Captive Women this year, never respected. Here's again where I go back to like, we've never had it so good. So of course, this is, some people know this from the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version, which was if I have a beef with Mystery Science Theater 3000, it's because they will choose incomplete versions, or they'll go with like TV cuts over theatrical cuts because it's easier to make fun of them. And I get it, but this is a good movie. This is a great like Euro Western. It's Europe. It's Peplum. It's Peplum. It's not a Euro Western. It's Euro fantasy kind of a movie. And look, we have a booklet with an essay by friend of Serial at Midnight, C. Courtney Joyner, who I just think the world of, about the history of Steve Reeves, Gordon Scott, and Reg Park in the Peplum genre. And then there's all of these have, they've got the booklets with the essays. They've got commentaries. They've got documentaries about the subjects there's a 20-minute overview about Peplum. With spaghetti westerns being caught up on now, it's been interesting. Just in the time that I've been writing about movies for, years and years, well before Serial at Midnight. Just in the time that I've been doing Serial at Midnight stuff here on YouTube, I have seen the rise, like fans finally coming to classic films. The whole pre-code movement is huge right now. At the Italian cycle, so spaghetti westerns were always like the red-headed stepchild of movies, right? People are discovering them. Look at the Vengeance Trails box set. This stuff is finally getting its due, and the next thing that I hope gets its due is the Peplum genre. They're not great. A lot of the movies, they cranked them out. That's what Italian cinema is. Italian exploitation movies, they latch onto a trend and they would just milk it for all it's worth. Dozens and dozens of movies. But we look back on them now, and they're so fun, and they're so unique, and they're so different. And the people that would go be in these, like Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, to go make some money in Italy and then come back. It's a wonderful subgenre that we got the Colossus of Rhodes from Warner Archive a few years ago. We got a Hercules movie from Kino, I think it was from Kino Lorber last year, and now we've got the Hercules and the Captive Women. This is a good sign for what I'm talking about, and I've got my fingers crossed that it's happening soon. Let's talk about some books. I'm running longer than I wanted to. I was trying to keep this under 15 minutes. You guys, from Bitmap Books, it's a guide to Japanese role-playing games. I was supposed to review this, and it sold out upon its first printing. Like, it immediately sold out. So I was like, okay, I'm going to hold my review because it's being reprinted. I'll hold my review, and then I'll cover it again when it's reissued to kind of promote it and whatever. And then that one sold out immediately too. So this is the first time we've actually talked about this, but it is one of my favorite releases of the entire year. So this is from Bitmap Books. I love Bitmap Books. I think last year, their book about the games that weren't was on my favorites of the year list, because it was real like journalism about games that almost were made, but then weren't made, or sometimes they were made and they were shelved. Well, this is the guide for JRPGs. Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, like all the so I'm the first generation Nintendo kid, right? And if you subscribe to Nintendo Power, you got Dragon Warrior for free, and they would send like the cart with the book and everything like that. Take that to school. I mean, I grew up with this stuff. I love these JRPGs. So Fire Emblem, Mystery Dungeon, Final Fantasy, and a bunch of stuff I've never heard of because it's Japanese and I guess it didn't come here. But over 600 games discussed, reviewed. It's a gorgeous book. There's a lot of substance to it. They give the really trying to find like a really popular game that they gave a full deluxe treatment to. There's more games I haven't heard of, like Linda 3. Let's do Mother, right? So Earthbound in the U.S., Mother. Is that around here? No. Anyway, it's a fantastic book with real in-depth journalism about. I keep using that word, but I think that there's a lot of people talking about video games. And there's certainly a lot of people playing video games on YouTube. There's not a lot of actual journalism. You click on the articles and it's mostly pictures, and it's like this is a. And you're like, this took 5 minutes to put together. This is real journalism. One other book that I want to talk about, another one of my absolute favorite things of the year. It's Pixel Dan's The Toys of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. This is Pixel Dan Erdley's book about He-Man. He's a massive He-Man fan. This is a guide to the figures. And it's so complete and it's so in-depth. It's basically every toy across all lines of He-Man from the beginning to today, with a photo of every figure, front, side, back, right up, origin of the figure. And it is so complete. Look at this. Mega Punch He-Man. We've got the packaging and everything. It is so complete that, I've been buying the new He-Man figures, are trying to, because they get scalped, and there's been a lot of supply chain issues with those. But I've been buying those newer He-Man figures from Mattel. The Masters of the Universe Origins line, and I think I'm going to bail on that. I think I'm going to sell what I've got and just, I can live through this book. I've got a picture of everything here. I don't have to have it in my hands. It's so great. It's so complete. It's so great. It's a collection in my hands. It's great. So that's going to do it for our part 2. I think we've got maybe one more part coming in the next day or two, so stay tuned. Continue to tell me your favorites in the comments below. I'd love to know what some of your favorite releases are that graced us in 2021. What a remarkable year for movie history and for preservation. Guys, thank you so much. Take care. Until next time, here's where to go and what to do.